Good morning. Good morning. Welcome back to another message. Ooh, you guys, it has been rough. Spiritual warfare is real, and typically we experience spiritual warfare when you are going to your next level or the next designation, the next season that God has for you. So literally right now I have been experiencing a lot of spiritual warfare, and it's been in regards to motherhood. And you would think that me being a mother, I would have went through every single season, well, not every single season because my oldest is 13, but you would think that I would be like used to it or conditioned to it, but to whom much is given, much is required. So throughout my relationship and me growing my relationship with God, He continues to reveal different things to me. He continues to reveal things that I need to be praying about. So I just wanted to come and share what has been transpiring for the past 2 weeks. So the first week, everything, well, I want to say maybe 2 weeks ago, typical week. And honestly, I had started to go on a prayer and fasting journey or whatever, because I felt like I needed to be connected back with God. And that week, my son ended up getting in trouble, but it was really due to no fault of his own. It was just more so him not being, how can I say it? Maybe not discerning, or maybe just not using his better judgment or whatever. So, he got a lesser punishment, and, me and my husband, just kind of told him like, hey, just be mindful of what you do. If someone gives you something, then you need to be mindful of it. Ask where it comes from. Ask those questions as to, if somebody's giving you something and it sounds too good to be true, then you need to ask the right questions. So that happened, and that's what it was. So then the second week, and then this was my second week of prayer and fasting, which I would fast from, I chose like 3 a.m. to 3 p.m., and I made it successful most of those days. But on this one particular day, I get a call from the school, and my son is yet in another incident. And I'm like, okay, like something is going on here. Like, what is going on here? Now, as you all know, or if you don't know, sometimes when you fast, things can arise in the spirit. Spiritual warfare is typically something that does happen when you fast. And honestly, with me fasting, I've experienced spiritual warfare, but never on this level before. So it's been a little different to navigate it. But on this particular day, I get a call from the school that I needed to pick my son up. And not to go into too much detail, but basically, it was another situation where he got in trouble just by receiving something, but the item that he received could have potentially, got him in serious trouble to where he would have gone to like another school, or, actually even maybe like juvenile, whatever, or however. And I'm like, okay, like the Lord kept telling me, as I'm going there, it's an attack on your son. So when I pick him up, I honestly communicate with him, and I said, son, there's an attack on your life, and I got to figure out why. So I kept asking and praying, and I kept asking God. I'm like, Lord, what is this? I'm like, because the trouble that he was getting in, it was due to no fault of his own, but the trouble was serious enough to where it could cause him to go down a wrong road or be with the wrong crowd, you know what I'm saying, because of the little small decision that he made, and not really being able to discern. And the people that gave him these things were his actual friends. So I'm like, okay, something is going on. So I just kept telling myself, I'm like, there's an attack on you, and I was like, God is going to use you, and whatever that purpose is for, I said, you need to be able to discern what's going on. And literally I drop him off or whatever, and I am still praying like, Lord, something is going on, but you told me in my spirit there is an attack on my son. So literally, y'all, as I go back to work, I'm like a block away from my job, and I literally see a license plate that says curse. I said, one came to mind, who got a license plate that say curse? I'm so confused. But I knew that was God speaking to me and letting me know the ailment as to which, what was going on. I'm like, okay, Lord, like now you revealing curses to me. Like like you hear about these things, you hear about bloodline curses, but it never really affects you until it actually happens to you, or God is able to communicate to warn you or let you know about something. So, I definitely, put that, in my heart, like, okay, Lord, I hear what you're speaking, so continue to show me. So literally, the Lord was able to give me a prophetic number, which is, the Lord is omnipotent. He always goes before us. So like, I want to say maybe 2 days before my son got in trouble, the Lord gave me a prophetic number, and not all the time will I ultimately just go into studying whatever the number is that he gave me, but just so happened it was after the day he got in trouble. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna get up at 5 a.m. and I am going to just spend time with the Lord, because I've been trying to get myself back into the rhythm of waking up early just to spend that quiet time with the Lord. That's also when he speaks. So during my quiet time, I noticed that the number that I had received, I never looked it up. So then when I looked it up, it literally was a reference to the firstborn. Like all the scriptures that referenced that number were referencing the firstborn. I'm like, okay, like it took a little minute. I'm like, okay, Lord, like you talking about the firstborn. I'm like, okay, Nolan is my firstborn. So that is a clue, as to what's going on. So then, in the Bible, the firstborn has a certain inheritance. They have a certain responsibility, when it comes to just receiving blessings and how their life is to go. But also in the Bible, if you realize, there were several stories, and I can't necessarily name names right now. If I can find them, then I'll insert them. But there were certain instances, I think, what was it? Let me not go into it. But there were certain instances where the firstborn, I want to say Abel and Cain, the twins, I can't think of their names, Lord forgive me, I probably inserted Jesus, but it was the biblical story of the twins where the son sold his birthright for a bowl of soup. So if you realize, in the Bible, there were stories where the firstborn had either a certain attack on their life, or it was something where the firstborn was not able to prosper because of how things were, attacks set up against them, and, so on and so forth. So, as I'm learning this and God is taking me physically through this, I'm like, okay, like what is it? And I said, curse. So as I'm like spending time with the Lord, and I'm like, okay, well, it's firstborn, and I'm like, is there a curse associated with it? And honestly, there were two things. There was a firstborn curse, and then just to even cover our bases in regards to renouncing any type of covenant that went before me, because I feel like the Lord even gave me dreams and signs saying that there was also a covenant either on my son's bloodline, my bloodline, or even my husband's bloodline in regards to a Freemason covenant. So with that, we definitely said a prayer of renouncing for Freemason, and we also said a prayer in regards to the firstborn curse. And a lot of times you won't even know that you're in covenant with these things, because it could be your grandfather, it could be your father's father, and on up the bloodline that you may not even know about, where these covenants were in place, and they literally literally affects people's lives, you know, like as in today. And I think it's very, how can I say it? Like it amazes me that the Lord was able to show me how, you know, these things work, even though we know absolutely nothing about them. Now, we said the prayers or whatever, maybe like a day or two ago, and I told my son to be watchful for your dreams. I told him to be watchful for your surrounding and, you know, everything that, you know, is coming about. But I just wanted to share with you all, just to be aware that, you know, if you have a firstborn, and it's also for the lastborn too, that if your children, you know, have been going through a hard time, or you feel that there are certain instances where you know, they get in trouble and it's due to no fault of their own, or sometimes it could even be due to the fault of their own, just because of how the generational patterns are set up. But I would love to just spread the awareness that for your firstborns and the lastborn children, there definitely needs to be a prayer said over them to protect them, for them to come out of alignment with any type of curses, any type of just spiritual attack, you know, in regards to this. And then what also confirmed that my son had an attack on his life was literally, I have another friend that literally texted me and said that they had a dream that he was on the phone with me and my husband on FaceTime, and that he was telling us to pray for our son because there is an attack on his life. So when we think about things in the physical, you also have to realize that they happen in the spiritual realm first before they come into, you know, the physical. So whatever that attack may have been, or if the attacks were slightly successful or unsuccessful, we're going ahead in the spirit realm before anything else is to happen, to be able to stop and be in spiritual warfare for our children. And I feel like, you know, God is doing something new, continuously doing something new with me. He's giving me more information, more wisdom, more knowledge, so that I'm able to share. And I will be honest and say that I have been struggling to share what it is that God has been revealing to me, because, you know, sometimes I think that people will think that I'm crazy. Sometimes I think that people will think like, okay, like, nah, she too deep. She going too deep. But there's no such thing when it comes to being too deep in regards to living a life with Jesus Christ. And I'm learning to walk into my identity. So every single time I post a video, that is me literally being obedient to what God is calling me to do, whether people receive it or people do not receive it. It is what it is. But I know that, you know, God gave me a certain light that I am still accepting and processing. But I know that I can't hide my light. I can't hide it, you know, under a bed. I can't hide it. I need to have it shine, because for the one person that watches this video and is relating to it, or this video may even be confirmation for someone, you know, I want to make sure that I'm being obedient to God and actually letting this video go out into the atmosphere, so that anyone that has a certain attack, or, you know, the Lord may have showed you and, you know, you was like, oh, I'm tripping. Like, no, you're not tripping. This video is confirmation of something that the Lord has been showing you, for you to pray for your children. And, you know, even as mothers, we still supposed to pray for our children regardless. So even with this significant, you know, revelation happening to me, I now even guard my children even more in the spiritual realm. So as I grow deeper with the Lord, I will continue to share, because I know that He's not taking me deep for no reason and not to share. But I pray that this message is received well. And just to let you all know, I do pray over messages before I send them out, because I don't want to be speaking from my heart and, you know, what I feel should be shared. But I let the Lord lead in this way, because He's given me so much revelation, and He's given me in my mouth and my spirit what to share. But I pray that you all have a great day. I love you with the love of Christ. And until next time, peace out.